Now today we will see user defined functions. The functions which are created by the user as per the requirement of a particular organization are known as user defined functions. So the functions which the programmer will create, which you will create, are known as user defined functions. Now the user defined function will always start with def keyword. Using this keyword you will define a function. The Python interpreter will come to know that it is a function definition using this def keyword. Now what is the syntax for creating user defined functions? You can see here. It starts with def keyword, then name of the function. Name of the function will follow the same variable naming conventions which you have been following for naming variables. Okay, then after name of the function there must be opening round bracket, and if the function is supposed to work on some data, if you have to supply some data to the function, as we did in sqrt function, we are giving the number for which you want square root to be calculated. There are functions that takes arguments, there are functions that doesn't take arguments. Okay, so if the function is supposed to take some data, that data you will write within these round brackets. If the function doesn't take any value or data, then also you have to write opening and closing round brackets without giving any data within those parentheses. Then the first line where you have written def must be ended with a colon. Colon means the function definition is followed. The function definition is not yet over. There are statements after this statement. So this first line of this function definition is known as function header. Def wali line, this is known as function header. Then within this function definition you can write what is the purpose of creating this function, what this function is doing, that you can write as a comment. If you don't write, then also it is acceptable, but if you are writing a function in an organization or in a real time, if you write a function and if you give that function to other users, how the other user will come to know what is the purpose of this function, for what purpose this function has been made. So you will write the purpose of the function, or you can write a comment here. Then what this function is supposed to do, those Python statements you will indent inside this function definition. These Python statements must be indented, then only it will mark the body of that function. If there are two statements in the function body, then both those statements must be indented. Okay, so let us see one example of a simple function. See, I have created a simplest function here. What it is doing? It is just displaying one message, welcome to the function. So the function definition must start with def keyword, def is a keyword, then name of the function is funct. Because it is a function, after name of the function there must be opening and closing parenthesis, then colon, then this statement print welcome to the function is indented. That means this statement comprises the body of this function. This whole is known as function definition. Now all the unindented areas of your Python program comprises the main area of the program. The execution always starts with the statements which you write in the main area. Now how it is decided what is the main area? As in the school you have a main gate, main entrance. All the visitors are supposed to enter from the main entrance only. Even the students, staff, everyone has to enter from the main gate. That is the starting point. Now what will be the starting point in this code if you execute this code? Main area will be the starting point. How the main area is decided? The statements which are not indented. Now see, funct, I have called this function, the user defined function. This statement is known as function call statement. This is a function call statement. Okay, so let us see how this code executes. If I run this code, here it has displayed welcome to the function. Now how it has actually executed the code, let us see the actual execution in Python tutor. Here I have Python tutor. I'll move on to the first statement. Now see, def is written in the main area of the code, right? Because it is not indented. So the execution starts from unindented statements. First unindented statement is def. Now because it is a function definition, how Python will come to know it is a function definition? With def keyword. So if it encounters def keyword, it will move on to the next statement which is written in the main area of the code. Now if I click on next, see this red pointer is the statement which is currently being executed. Now if I clicked on next statement, it has directly moved on to the funct or the function call statement. Main area of the program, the statement written in 4th line is a comment, so it has ignored that also. Now it has created one global frame. Global frame means all the functions or variables which you will define outside all the other functions, right, in the main area of your program are defined in the global frame. So funct is a name which is pointing to a function funct. Now if I click on next, it will move on to the definition of the function again. Now this time it will execute this definition. Okay, so it has created one more frame here, funct. And if I click on next, now it has entered the statement which was written inside the function. The statement was welcome to the function, print statement. So output you can see here. You can see output here. Now this function is doing something, but it is not returning any value, neither it is taking any value to work upon, right? So here you can see return value is none. My execution is here. Now if I click on next, again it will move on to the statement from where it was called. Now see, whatever function name or variables which this function had created, all those variables will be destroyed once the job of this function gets over. Till here see, there was function name. Now once the control is returned back in the main area, the existence of that function, again it goes from the memory. As I told, there are functions that doesn't require any data, but they will do something. They have a specific task. Let us see in this example. I have created a function add. What this function will do? First, this function will ask 2 numbers from the user. It will find out the result of addition of those numbers and it will display the addition of those numbers. Now see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 statements which I want to be executed when this function will be called. So my function definition is this complete block, right? These statements are indented, that means they are part of this function named add. Now this function doesn't require any data to work upon, but it has a specific task. In the main area I have just called this function. If you see the execution, enter first number, suppose I enter 50, second number 25, then it has displayed sum as 75. Let us see how actually it is executed internally. I will move on to the first statement. Now first statement was comment, second line you have function definition. If I click on next, again next unindented statement, that is next statement in the main entrance is add. So it has created a global frame. One name of the object is add, it is pointing to the function add. So now it will call this function. The red pointer has again moved here. See, now it has called function add. It has created one more frame for add. If I click on next, now it is asking me to enter a number. That means it is executing third line. Here suppose I enter first value. Suppose I enter 100. Okay, so it has created a variable named a inside this function. See, this variable a has been created inside this function named add. Now a is storing 100 because we had given 100. Now it is asking me to enter value of second number. So second number I entered 25. It has created one more variable named b. 25 is saved in b. Now it will execute this next statement, fifth statement, sm is equal to a plus b. If I click on next, it has executed that statement. Value of sm now is 125. It has saved the result in variable sm. Next, it will execute print statement. Now if you print sum is equal to sm, it has displayed sum is equal to 125 here in the output. Okay, now the function has reached the last statement. Now it has to return the value, but there is no return value. So by default a function returns none. None means it is returning some value, but that value is nothing. So it is returning none. Okay, if you click on next here, see, it has, the function has created three variables a, b and sm. Once I click on next, now my pointer is here, it is still in the function definition. If I click on next, it will again move in the main area here from where the function was called. The function was called from the 8th line. The execution of 8th line is over. 9th line is nothing. That means it has executed the whole code. The variables which were declared inside the function, which were created inside the function, have gone from the memory. Now this example shows function taking some data on which it will work on, right? Now suppose you have two numbers. You want to create a function that will receive two values and then it will find the sum of those values and display the sum of those values. We are doing the same job, but here I am reading those values from the user first, the values for which I want to find the sum. So I have written a function definition. Now this time you see here in the function definition add, I have two variables written inside round brackets. That means this function add is supposed to receive two values a and b to do some work. Okay, using these two values it will process these two values inside its body. So earlier the function was not taking any data. This time the function will take two values. It is taking data. Okay, so in the main area I have one variable num1 which I'll read value from the user, another variable num2, again I'll read this value from the user, and then I have called add. This time I have called this function by giving num1 and num2. Okay, so first we'll see the execution. I have 78 as first number, 67 as second number, sum is equal to 45. Now internally what has happened, let us see. Move on to the first statement. First statement is def, see red pointer, it is executing this. It will move on to num1. So it is asking me to enter value of number 1. Number 1, suppose I give 80 and submit. So it has created a variable num1. 80 has been saved in num1. This time num1 is created in the global frame. Global frame means in the main area of the code. Then it will execute 9th line. That means it is asking me the second number. Second number, suppose I give 20. Again I click on submit. It has created num2 with value 20. Now it has moved on to the next statement, which is a function call statement. See, when I click on next, what has happened? This when I called this function add, I had given num1 and num2 as data on which the function will work. Now the function is supposed to work on two values. I have given two values here. Okay, so the first value will go in variable a, because a has been defined first here. Second value will go in variable b. Okay, so see, first value num1 80, it has copied in variable a, and value of num2 is copied in variable b. Variable a and b are within the environment add. That means they are within the function. Now it will execute the function definition. Sm is equal to a plus b. It will execute this statement now. Now it has executed that statement and sum has been saved in Sm. One more variable has been created. If I click on next, return value again is none. It has displayed the sum. It has executed print sum is equal to Sm here. You will see the output. Right? So still my control is inside the function. Now when I click on next, all these variable will be destroyed and the control will be returned in the main frame. See, as soon as I click on next, all the variables which were created in Sm gets destroyed and my record pointer will come after the 10th statement, or the execution pointer will come after 10th statement. There is nothing there. So the program has been executed. So we have seen this example. We have executed this example without any argument, function without any argument, function with argument. Now till now we have made functions which were not returning any values. Right? Now let us make a function that returns a value. We'll make a function that will return a value. Okay. In this only I'll make some change. Instead of printing the result inside this function, what I'll do, I will return the calculated value. Now return again is a keyword. I will return value Sm. Okay. Now if you run this much of code, file, save, and if I run, let us see what happens. First number I enter 50, second number 60, it has not shown me the value. That means I have called the function, right? Function has returned the value, but I have not processed that returned value. Now, how I can process that returned value? Suppose I just want to display the value which has been returned from the function. I will write this statement, this function call statement inside print. Now see, if I again run it, if I enter 40, 30, 70 is displayed here. What I have done, this function will return a value. That returned value will become argument for print. Print will display that value, and it has displayed that value. Now suppose many a times you want the value to be processed in some other expressions. Suppose the value which this add is returning, that value I need in further calculations. So what I'll do, I will save that value in this variable val, and then if suppose I have some other expression, re is equal to val into 2. So the value which was returned by the function is saved in variable val, and then it is processed. So you have to decide whether if you have to use the value returned from the function, that value you will save in some other variable, and that variable you can use in other expressions. And if you just want to display that value, you write this function call statement inside print only. Now again we'll execute this code. I have displayed the value of re finally. Let us see how the things are actually executing. I'll paste it in Python tutor. Move on to the first statement. First statement is function definition. Next, it is asking me to enter value. I enter 50. Then it will execute this next statement. It is asking me for second value. Again I enter 70. Now see, num1 and num2 has been created. Now it is calling function add with value num1 and num2. So those values are copied in A and B. Function has been called. Control has moved here. Sm is equal to A plus B. It has created variable Sm. Now see this statement, return value. Earlier it was coming none. This time you have return statement, and you are returning value Sm. So that return value is Sm. Okay. Once I click on next, the control will be moved to the next statement here, from where the function was called. So next statement is re, returned value will be saved in val. See here, that returned value is saved in val. 120 was the returned value. Val has been created in the global frame. Now it will execute the next statement, that is re is equal to val into 2. It has created one more variable re, and then value of re has been saved and it has been displayed. Okay, so if you have to process the value which is returned from the function, you save that value in another variable, or if you just want to display the value which is coming from the function, you can write the function call statement in the print function. Okay, now let us see another very important example. This I have shown with return value. Now in Python, a function can return multiple values. In Python, a function can return no value, or it can return one value, or it can return more than one values. Let us see how it returns more than one values. This I'll make comment. Okay, here there is a function that returns more than one value. I have a function named calc. It is kind of simple calculator. One more thing you must remember, the other conventional languages like C, C++, Python, Visual Basic, these languages, if you create a function, it can return at the most one value. Only in Python a function can return multiple values. Now see here, I have a function named calc which is supposed to receive two values. Then I have saved the sum of addition in variable sm, the result of subtraction in sub, multiplication in mul, remainder in rem. I have created a simple calculator kind of a function. Now the most important statement is this. Here this function is returning 5 values. So I have to return 5 values. Those values I have written after return statement. Return sm, sub, mul, rem, div. Okay. So here in the main area I have taken two variables from the user. These two statements you can skip for now, that I'll explain later. Now this function is supposed to return 5 values, so you need 5 variables to save those 5 values. Okay, so in the main area I have again created 5 variables. These 5 variables will store the values which are returned from this function num1, num2. Okay, so first value function will return sm will be saved in su, sub will be saved in sb, mul will be saved in mu, rem will be saved in re, div will be saved in di, and then I have just displayed the result of addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Now let us see how it executes. First statement, function definition. Then it will come here num1, it is asking me to enter first number. So first number, suppose I enter 79. So it has created a variable num1 79. Now it is asking me second number. Second number is, let us say 6. So it has created num2 with value 6. Now I have called this function. This function is being called here at this statement with value num1 and num2. So again it has moved on to the function definition. Function definition, it has created a and b variables. Value of num1 is copied in a, value of num2 is copied in b. Then sm is equal to a plus b. It has created one variable sm. Result of addition is saved there. Result of subtraction is saved in sub. Result of mul is saved in, multiplication is saved in mul. Remainder is saved in rem, and result of division is saved in div after dividing a by b. Now see, it has moved on to return statement. If I click on next, now because it is returning multiple values, those values will be returned as a tuple. If you remember, last year we did packing and unpacking of tuples. So it will return a tuple, right? So this statement is unpacking the tuple also, because the returned value here is tuple. That tuple will be unpacked and those individual values will be saved in these individual variables which are created in mainframe. Okay, so as soon as I return in the calling environment, from here, from this environment the function was called na. Now see, su, sb, mu, re, di has been created, and the value of sm is copied in su, sub is in sb. So all these values have been, the function has returned 5 values. Those 5 values have been saved in these variables, and then individually I am displaying those variables. See here, you will get the output, and after execution, this is how the program will be executed. Okay, now here I was telling that if the function is returning multiple values, those values are returned as tuple. Let us try to understand that. If suppose I will save the values returned from this function in variable result. So I have called this function calc. Okay, then I'll write print type result. What is the data type of variable result? That is a tuple. Let us see whether it comes tuple or not, and then this statement is unpacking of tuple. Okay, so what changes I have done here? After reading two numbers, the result which the function is returning is saved in only one variable, result. So it is returning a tuple. So result will become a tuple. That will be proved by this statement. Let us run this code. Now it is asking me to enter first number. I'll give 78. Second number I'll give 4. Let us say 5. Second number I have given 5. Now see, it has displayed class tuple. What this statement proves? This statement proves that the data type of variable result is a tuple, because this function was returning multiple values. Those values were returned as a tuple, and then this statement is unpacking of tuple. The first value inside this tuple will be saved in SU, second value in SB, third value in MU, fourth and fifth value likewise. One more thing you have to remember while calling a function, the first value which you have given in the function call statement will be copied in the first value of function definition. In the execution I have shown you this. So always remember this. If you interchange this, then num2 will be copied in variable a when the function will be called, and value of num1 will be copied in variable b. So the position of these variables, right, the first value will go in the variable defined at first position, second value will go in the variable defined at the second position, and likewise. So this you have to remember. So the execution of this program I have already shown you, where the function is returning multiple values. Here the values which are returned by this function is processed using a for loop. This tuple was unpacked using for loop. This way also you can display the result. Okay, so there were 5 values. Those 5 values will be printed one by one using a for loop. So it depends on the situation whether your function is required some argument or not, whether that function will return a value or not, that you have to decide, because you will create a function. So as per the requirement, you have to create user defined functions.